immortality in God's great light, in his eternal flame, and we can be that, dwelling in the light, which no man can approach unto. There we have what the reality of life is, and to do miracles, to perform miracles, to understand them, we must be that light. One time I was meditating not too long ago, meditated a long time, was sitting there, just relaxed just a bit, into that land of the shadow, between wakefulness and sleepfulness, and a tremendous bolt of lightning hit me. And with it a tremendous clap of thunder that was, I can't describe it. I didn't know whether I was dead or alive, but I was fully aware that that was the flame of God's presence. So these things are real. Follow the self-realization techniques, meditate with devotion to God, and he will give you the greatest gift, oneness with his presence, oneness with his great light. And so, on page 279 of the autobiography of a yogi, if you want to know about miracles, read this chapter. It's far more than I can tell you. Read it, meditate for years and years, then perhaps you will know about it. Page 279. There it says, through a master's divine knowledge of light projection, of light phenomena, he can instantly project into perceptible manifestation the omnipresent light atoms. Everything is from light. The actual form of the projection, whether it be true, a medicine, a human body, is in conformance with the yogi's power of will and visualization. Those are God's powers. God visualized this creation. By his power of will, he put that visualization into effect. We can do the same thing if we couple ourselves with God's will. These are the laws of miracle. And then finally, another part I'd like to read from the same page, when it says, innocent of all personal motives. You cannot know God with this personality. You have to be above ego, above personality. That's why Jesus said you must be like little children. Above, innocent of all personal motives, and employing the creative will bestowed upon him by the Creator. All saints say, thy will be done, not my will. Thy will be done. Using that will bestowed upon him by the Creator, a yogi rearranges the light atoms of the universe to satisfy any sincere prayer of a devotee. For this purpose were man and creation made, that he should rise above, as a master does, above delusion, knowing his dominion over the cosmos. And so we are made, as Jesus said, in the image of God. We are his children. And the things which Jesus did, we can do in greater things if we merge ourselves in the omniscience, the omnipresence of God. And so in closing, miracles are possible today if you conform to the law of miracles, which is, the greatest one is that you lift yourselves from outward consciousness of duality into the omniscience of God. Then you are subject not to the outward laws, but to the laws of his omniscience. If you do that, then you will understand miracles. Then, when you see a person who comes to you, and you see him receive the presence of God, part of his great spirit, and you see him changed before your eyes, that's the greatest miracle. Because there's no miracle greater than the miracle to change a person and give him the ability of his own free will and accord to lift himself from delusion and outward consciousness into the security and the presence of God, into his great power, greatest of all, into his omniscient love. That's the greatest thing. And in Ezekiel, the 43rd chapter, first and second verses, we read it in effect. He took me by the way of the east gate. That's this gate here. He took me by the way of the east gate. And the glory of God shone by the way of the east gate. That's the way into the omniscience of God, into his great light. Know that light, you will know all about miracles. He took me by the way of the east gate, and the glory of God shone by the way of the east gate, and his voice was like the sound of many waters. And he filled my whole being with his great consciousness. This is the door. Self-realization will give you the techniques and the way to enter the door into the omniscience of God, into his great life, because the Master, who promulgated self-realization fellowship, had the realization, was one with that great light of God, is now in that great light of God. Follow him, be one with him, and you will know the omniscience of God and that you are one of God's children.
In order to profit from these practical teachings in a meaningful way, which will have a definite and tangible impact in your life, we suggest that you subscribe to the Self-Realization Fellowship's home study course on the science of yoga. Please visit the SRF on the web at yogananda-srf.org or call the SRF's Mother Center in Los Angeles, California at 323-225-2471.